Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or yes there. Just let me know if it's working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. I'm looking forward to trading with you guys today to get into our banker's close. And also excited to talk about some of our other trades, like our CAD yen. We'll talk about that and kind of the mechanics with that trade. So I'm excited. Let's get into it. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys. So as far as news goes, we just had our inflation report here in the United States come out. It came out as to the expectation. So far, the stock market has reacted well to this news, but it's not anything crazy monumental either. Um, so basically, yeah, nothing crazy to report this way, although the Fed still remains hawkish with the interest rates. So we'll see how that carries out. But no other news, so we should be good to trade any of the pairs that we want. I do have all three pairs pulled up here on a 5-minute chart: Euro franc, Euro pound, pound franc. I've got their Bollinger Bands set up on the 5-minute. So I do want to be consistent this time. You know, yesterday I was thinking about, because I took my first loss with the banker's close yesterday, um, since the second week of October, which is great. You know, obviously that's a good track record. But I want to be really consistent at following the rules of the banker's close. So the technical rules are to wait until you hit an upper or lower Bollinger Band on any one of these three pairs, and then we can go ahead and execute. So I do want to kind of wait for that to set up the way that we normally would like it to set up. So I'm going to be patient and I'm going to wait this time. I'm not going to just get in right at the beginning of the market and try to make something happen. Okay. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm just going to give the market some time to kind of fluctuate here, and then I'll go ahead and take the trade. But let's actually pull up the rules so that we're all on the same page. I think it's over here. Let me grab this real quick. It's going to be in strategies and then London Makers Close. Here we go. So yeah, let's review some of these rules to make sure that we're on the same page, because I think honestly we could have avoided some of the loss with the Aussie franc yesterday had we followed some of these rules. And I'll show you which ones and it's my fault. It's my fault to keep us on track. We need to I'm taking total ownership on that. I need to make sure that we're following these rules exactly. And to be clear, even when you're following the rules exactly, you're still not going to get 100%. Like nothing's 100% in this market, but we don't need 100% to be profitable, right? We don't need 100%, but we do need to have the diligence and the willingness to follow these to the T. So technically here's the entry rules right here. Execute a buy order if we break an upper Bollinger Band on a 5-minute chart in the banker's close. Let's see, execute a buy order if we break. Actually, this is the other way. So execute a buy order if we have a break in the lower lower Bollinger Band, and then the opposite is true with the sell. So, and then yeah, execute a sell order if we have a break in the oh, here we go, in the upper Bollinger Band on a 5-minute chart. So here we are in the banker's close hour, right? And we need one of these markets, one of these three markets, to go up to here or down to here and hit an upper or lower Bollinger Band within the next 55 minutes. Okay, if we get that to set up, then we can go ahead and take the trade. What we had yesterday, let me actually show you what we had yesterday. If you pull up the Aussie franc, go to a 5-minute chart, I'll show you this trade setup from yesterday. Here was the beginning of the webinar yesterday. on the Aussie franc. Okay. So, and then here's a Bollinger Band. So pretty much right at the beginning, right at the beginning of the webinar, we had a break in the upper Bollinger Band. I mean, it had happened actually just a few minutes before the opening of the webinar, but it was still like we were still above that upper Bollinger Band when the webinar started yesterday. And so that would have been, we would have needed to immediately enter the sell and then take the trade. Which is why I also think it's not a bad idea, guys, if you want to take the trade just a little bit earlier. Like if you want to get on the computer 5 minutes early and look for these setups, I don't think that's a bad idea. But yeah, you're waiting for an upper or lower break in the Bollinger Band. And then what you're doing is you're trying to ride this. And then what's the take profit? You want to close at the mid Bollinger Band, right? So when you're looking at the rules here, take profit when the mid Bollinger Band is hit or when price returns back to the original signal opportunity. So that last part right there, when it returns to the original signal opportunity, on occasion, like yesterday, you're going to get trades that go against you quite a bit. And when that happens, you can usually only ask the market to break even at that point. So if they go against you, you'll want to close out. And then we did follow this rule yesterday, which was really good. We did follow this rule for stop loss. You know, if you hit a fourth of an average daily range after you've taken the trade and you leave the trade alone, you need to stop out. You know, we closed out for minus 17 pips per trade. You know, you just got to do it. You just have to do it, right? But yeah, you're trading euro, franc, pound. And these are the three that we really like to trade: euro, franc, euro, pound, pound, franc. And then you want to do a 5-minute chart, get the Bollinger Bands on that 5-minute chart. You want to trade in this window, which we're right in the middle of that window right now. So, you know, once we can get any one of these to line up, we'll go ahead and go with, doesn't matter. I'll go with any one of these. But I need them to line up the way that the trade calls for. And yeah, like I said, we'll go with any one of these. But I'm going to be patient to follow the rules exactly, because I think that's something that I got burned on yesterday and the only thing we really got burned on was not the entry. The entry was fine. I mean, obviously, obviously it would have been nice to get in just a little bit earlier so we could have made more profit, because most of this profit was made in the first 5 minutes. That bar right there just came right down, and then you had your opportunity to get out right there. And that's my fault for not getting us out of half of our trade right there, because at that point you can put your stop loss at break even, or even if you don't put your stop loss at break even, at least you made some profits, so that if you do lose on the rest of the trades, you know, hopefully the day's a draw, you break even type of thing, right? Jason says, what are the settings? Yep, it's 2 standard deviations and length is 20. Yeah, you can actually see right here on my trading view. Yeah, length is 20, standard deviations 2. That's the standard in the market. I also have that set up over here. I can look at my indicators, click on them. You'll see, yep, 2 standard deviations, period is 20. So yep, that's perfect. And yep, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait for the market to give me a solid setup here. In the meantime, while we're waiting for this solid setup, I did want to show you guys this trade. Our CAD yen is doing amazing. This is one of the best trades I've ever taken, actually. I'm up $12,000, almost $12,000 on this trade. This is the trade we took on Wednesday afternoon. It's a swing trade we took Wednesday afternoon. Here we are Thursday, and we're up, you know, nearly $12,000 on this trade. It's a great trade setup, 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So I'm still trying to make about $15,000 on the trade. So it's got another $4,000 to go or so. which is about another 40 pips to go, 45 pips to go before I'm going to take my profit. But yeah, already, if this trade hit its stop loss, you'd lose about 5,000, but you stand to make 15,000. And that's exactly where we want to be with these types of setups is, you know, you want to be 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio if possible. So, and this was the original, let me actually show you the original setup on TradingView. So on TradingView, you and I were on an H1 time frame. Let me remove the Bollinger Bands and we use SonarLab. Here was the original setup. So you and I sold back here, okay, on Wednesday, no, on Monday. So we technically sold over here somewhere. And our stop loss is currently and was up here above this previous pivot high. And then we were looking for, and I'm looking to take profit. The reason why I'm looking to take profit down here is because this is where the last demand is, right here. And so that's why my take profit is right there. Let's see what else I was going to say about this. Yeah, stop loss above this high. Okay, why did we like this trade again? Just in recap. So this trade was really nice because it had like 6 different institutional sell blocks from SonarLab. Up here, you had a head and shoulders pattern. Yep, looks like a mountain. Yep, that's the head and shoulders concept. And so the head and shoulders kind of led us on to the fact that this was going to go lower. We were forming lower lows and lower highs. Technically, this high is lower than this high over here. This low is lower than this low over here. So when you combine all of those clues, everything we're looking at, a sell really made a lot of sense for this trade. And again, I'm still hanging on to this setup. I still think it's going to go down further, so I'm staying in. Anyway, let's go back over here. I just don't want to miss, if we get a trade opportunity, I don't want to miss this. So I'm going to stay on this screen now so that we can be close by if we get an opportunity. And again, I'm looking for a break or a touch in the upper or lower Bollinger Band. And then I'll go ahead and take my trade at that point. But I'm, again, trying to be a little more consistent, trying to follow the rules exactly how they're meant to be traded. And we're still not going to win every single trade, even when we're following the rules. I do want to make that clear. But we will be consistent enough to be profitable over the long term if we follow these rules. So I have a feeling we might get a setup first, either the pound franc or euro franc. They're getting pretty close to their upper bands there. Yeah, yesterday we would have had a setup right at the beginning of the hour, but today it's been a little bit slower, which is fine. Actually, that euro pound's getting pretty close. Dang, I didn't think it would do that, but yeah, it's getting pretty close. If it has a nice little bar down, we might get an opportunity right there. Yeah, actually, it's going to be either the euro pound or the pound franc might get us to set up a little bit faster. I almost would prefer the euro pound though, if we can go with that one, just because real quick, I just want to go over here. I like the fact that this euro pound is already, it's in context of where the market's going. It's already in an uptrend. So like the idea of buying that versus selling the pound franc. This one's in a overall uptrend. So I'd rather buy this, but it looks like it might turn into a sell opportunity. Anyway, just letting you know. But yeah, we'll wait. We're almost there. Not quite a setup yet, but we're almost there. Okay, so I'd say that pound franc has set up. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and execute a couple of sells there. Oh, and I usually, my default for the pound franc's a little bit wider. I usually do 60 and 60 on the pound franc. But let me go ahead and execute some sells here. Okay, and then we'll want to be diligent. Again, like I'm trying to get back to my my rules, right? Because I got burned a little bit yesterday because I wasn't following these, right? So I do want to, I mean, and fortunately the mid Bollinger Band is around some demand down here. So if we can get the market to pull back here, this would be the most appropriate area to close at. Can we hold some trades beyond that? Sure, but you should close at least half your position by the time you get to that mid Bollinger Band, right? So I'm going to go ahead with that. Going to go ahead with that pound franc right there. And then technically the euro pound, you could do the euro pound too. That's lining up for an opportunity. Could go with that one. Yeah, euro pound, euro franc's almost lining up here. It's pretty close. All right, and we'll see this. This looks like it may break up just a little higher. That's fine though, but we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, again, I just want to stay consistent and follow the setup and follow the strategy rules. The other thing that we can do to figure out our stop loss is I usually just have a default stop loss while I'm trading it manually. On the pound franc, it's 60 pips. The euro pound and euro franc, it's 40 pips. But the other thing you can do is just stay consistent with this rule right here. Just go to Maytaf, find out what the what's the volatility for the pound franc, and you just come over here. And this is great for people who, if you just need to take the trade and go to your job, you got to do what you got to do. This is a great thing to do. So you can see on Thursdays, a little bit of a higher volatility day. So for the pound francs, it's 117.5 pips is the average daily range. And so if we want to use this, what I do is I do 117.5 pips on a calculator and I divide that by 4, which is going to be 29 pips. So my max stop loss should be 29 pips. What this does is it helps me stay in context of the market. It helps me not risk too much on the trade as well. So what I do is I go 29 pips above where I took the trade, which would be like right here. So this would be my max loss is right here. I don't want to lose more than that. So let's see, how far is that again? Basically, if this market goes up to here, so in between 113.42 and 113.48. And this will protect you from taking just a really big loss. Because the whole idea behind taking a loss, guys, is you want the loss to be something that you could recover from the next day. Okay. If we're taking losses that you can't recover from in a day or two, we're not trading correctly. Okay. We need to be humble enough to take a loss strategically, right? Because if we're not doing that, then all of a sudden we're gonna be that's how you blow up accounts, right? Have you ever heard of that? For those of you that are new, have you ever heard about blowing up an account? So blowing up an account is where your loss is so big that there's just no way, there's no return. You could never come back from it. The only way you can come back is if you upload more money, deposit more money, get a bigger account, whatever. If you're doing a challenge with a prop firm trading company, you'd have to reset and start over, right? That's blowing up an account. So we don't ever want to blow up our accounts. We always want to, if we're going to take a loss, because that does happen, we want to make sure that the loss that we take is within reason that, hey, I can recover from this right here. So basically, these are my targets down here. They're close to 1-to-1. I've got some targets down here that make it a little bit better than 1-to-1. So yeah, if you did hit all of these stop losses, like, yeah, it would stink, but you could absolutely come back from that, right? And that's the whole concept. That is if you're taking a loss that, say, it would take you 2 weeks to come back from, that's still too big, right? If it would take you 3 weeks, it's, again, too big. We got to make sure that these losses are all reasonable losses. So yesterday, my loss on my Forex funds account is I lost about $2,000 on the trade, which is okay. Like I can make $2,000 on a banker's close, but usually my best banker's close day, I'll make $2,000. And I really want my losses to be about what I make on average. So if on average I make about $1,000 a day, I really want to keep my losses. So I didn't even do the best job there possible. Now, did I blow up my account? No. I have a $200,000 account and I lost $2,000. So how much did I lose? I lost 1% of my account yesterday. 1%. That's acceptable, right? But if we're taking losses that are 5, 10%, 20%, can't do that. Can't do that. You're not going to be in business long enough. And the whole goal is to stay in business. We have to be able to stay in business. And so that's why we got to, stop out when it's appropriate, make sure that we're not risking too much on these trades. Man, this thing basically came up to the Bollinger Band. It stopped here. It doesn't know what to do. There's a battle between buyers and sellers right now for sure. Some people want to send it higher. Some people want to send it lower. But look at that flicker right now on that candlestick. Quite the flicker going on. So that just means there's a battle when you see a flicker like that. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go up or down. It could go either way, to be honest, but it does mean that there's a breaking point here, a decision that has to be made. And this trade could do one of several things. Like, I'm going to pull this over just a little bit. This trade of ours could do one of several things here. We could see this thing, it could come straight down right away and we hit the mid Bollinger Band and we make our money. Or it could go up and hit our stop loss. Or it could do a mix of the things. It could go up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little, and then, who knows at that point, maybe it'll come down and hit our targets, or who knows where it'll go. But anyway, all I'm saying is everything's on the table at this point. So I'm all about, I don't think you should ever be ashamed to take a loss. I don't think you should ever be ashamed to. I think if you took a loss within the rules of the strategy, you did well. You did what you were supposed to do. The problem is especially when we're new to trading, and I even broke some of my rules. Fortunately, I only lost 1%, but and I still don't like to. Again, no one likes to lose, right? I don't like to lose. But it's part of the business. You have to have costs. Let's think about it. Like if you were to open up any business out there, let's say you were to open up I don't know, a restaurant. You can't expect to open up a restaurant without any costs before you, like, think about how much money would you have to. I've never opened up a restaurant. Maybe some of you have, but what do you think would be the cost to go into that? I imagine, you got to have a place. You got to have a, place to be able to serve food. Whether you're leasing something or purchasing something, it's going to cost you money, right? You got that expense. You got to hire people to get started. You got to get everything legal set up. That's going to cost money. You got to buy the food. You got to be able to prepare the food and cook it, and that's going to cost money too. So by the time you get your first sell, you're already sunk so far, right? Fortunately with trading, I don't think you have to get sunk that far. I think you can learn, especially you can learn on demo accounts. You can learn how to trade on a fake account for a while and then eventually put real money into it. But I would make sure that you've got your rules sound and that, I actually blew up accounts when I first started. So, if you're not blowing up accounts, you're off to a good start. But yeah, I blew up accounts to begin with. And that's when I learned, oh my gosh, I got to figure out how to manage these losses because, I need to be able to take losses that are reasonable, that match my strategy rules. If I can't do that, then I shouldn't be trading. Should do something else. And that's always been my fear too. It's like if I don't trade well, if I can't figure this out, I'm gonna have to go and back and work for the man again. I'm gonna have to go, report to somebody and I always report to people. Like I report to my wife. I have to be successful. I report to you guys. I have to make sure that I'm trading well so that you guys can be profitable, right? Like everybody has to report to people. Doesn't matter what you're doing, right? But yeah, if you're making those rookie mistakes consistently, like you're not going to be in business forever. Now, it's okay to make mistakes, like it's totally normal. But Got to learn from them, right? And yesterday we didn't make a lot of errors, other than we talked about some of those errors already, which by the way, this trade's starting to work, which is awesome. Let's see if we can get it all the way down to the mid Bollinger Band. I'm already up 34 pips on this trade. Let's see how far we can go with this. But yeah, like, what did we do wrong yesterday? What we did wrong was, and again, I'm taking 100% ownership on this. Is all me. It's all me. I'll take it. But if I'm going to take it, I get to take all the wins though, too. It's all me. I get to take the wins if I'm going to take the losers. But yeah, talking about this trade, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? So what we did right was our entry. I think our entry was good. Getting in when you had a break in the upper Bollinger Band here, right at the beginning of the hour, all of that was good. Would have been nice to get in just a little bit earlier, just before the hour, but that's still a good entry if you can get in right at the beginning of the hour, right here at the open, and then short that because you're out the upper Bollinger Band. But then what we didn't do, and this is the problem, we did not take any profits. We did not take any profits at the mid Bollinger Band. And what was the result? We got greedy. I got greedy. Sorry. I said I was going to own this. I got greedy and I did not let this thing, and I just left it on. And so I hit my stop losses, right? I had stop losses on this trade. I think they were 16 or 17 pips, and I just hit them, right? I just hit those stop losses. Nothing I could do at that point. Nothing I could do. So that was my bad on that trade. So that's what we're going to do today. If we can get the market to pull back a little bit more, again, we don't want to close early because we are making a little bit of money right now. But again, where do we want to close? Where do we want to take our profits? Mid Bollinger Band, right? Just got to follow those rules. Fortunately, like I said earlier, that mid Bollinger Band is around a demand area, so that makes even more sense to close out right there. But yeah, just some stuff to talk about, some things to consider. And yeah, who knows? Maybe this trade doesn't work out. I don't know. Like if I don't have a crystal ball. I just have an edge in the market. I know what my edge is. I got to follow my edge. But yeah, if we win, if we're fortunate to win this trade, great. But if we don't, is this a loss we're willing to take? Yeah, I'm okay taking that loss. Can I come back? Can I come back again tomorrow? I guess that's the good question. Can I come back tomorrow and get my money back with that loss? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, we need to adjust. Okay. We need to adjust how we're doing things. Now I'm just waiting. Looks like, just for kicks and giggles here, it looks like some of these other ones have had setups. So this euro pound technically has had a setup here. It hit this lower Bollinger Band. Now it's up about 7 pips. So that could have been a good one too. It's basically the same trade we're in. When this one goes up, the other one goes down. So we're in that one. And then this Euro franc didn't quite, you can see it didn't quite hit them upper Bollinger Band. I mean, you could push it just a little bit, but it's starting to line up now, just barely. It's just barely starting to line up. And then ours is doing great. We're up 70 pips now. We're getting pretty close to hitting some targets. So that's what's hard is, we talked about it yesterday is yesterday's trade could have gone down in history as a winner had we taken profits at that mid Bollinger Band, but we didn't. And so we paid the consequence. We hit losses on everything. But it's a good learning experience, right? I think that's a good way. As long as we came out okay, as long as we came out like, hey, we recovered or we can recover, then we're good. And that's why I also recommend to people, trade a demo account or simulated account until you have that confidence to go in with real money. And you've done it over and over and over and over again with the same rules day in, day out. Yeah, we're getting pretty close here. We'll see if we can hit. If we hit those, we're definitely going to make over 100 pips today. If we can hit those, we'll see. We're getting pretty close. Okay, now so my unrealized is now over 100 pips right now, which is awesome. See if we can keep it going. Funded account with no time limits, Jason, is Funded Trading Plus. I haven't done a challenge with them because I found out that so when I take these bankers close trades, the one rule I don't like about them is, and it may not be a deal breaker for you, and it honestly shouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but it was at the time. So I ended up not going with Funded Trading Plus because one of the rules is you have to have a stop loss on every trade the moment you execute the trade. Because a lot of the times you guys see me, I do this a lot. Like I'll take trades that don't have stop losses, but then like I'll adjust the stop loss, a minute or two later. Like I'll move the stop loss up or I'll put the take profit in later. I always have a stop loss for the record, and I want to make sure this is on the recording right now. I always have a stop loss on every single trade I take, period. Okay, for the record, you should have a stop loss on every single trade you take, period. Okay. The thing is, I like the flexibility of being able to take the trade. Like if I see an opportunity, I'll just go sell, 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 bam, bam. I'll just throw in a couple of trades. I like to take multiple trades, as you guys know, that's my style. My style of trading is to take multiple orders, kind of spread out my risk a little bit, spread out my take profits a little bit. I like to fan them like you see here. That's my style. I don't like to have just one single stop loss, one single take profit. I like to fan them out a little bit. It's just a style of mine. And so because I like that style, I don't have the ability to just, with the style that I've adopted, I don't have the ability to just execute an order and have my stop loss and take profit ready to go the moment I take the trade. But that's what Funded Trading Plus requires. Because what happens with them is if you take a trade with Funded Trading Plus, you immediately enter a sell and it does not have a stop loss, they will automatically close your trade for you, costing you the commission to open the trade. And, you know, it's just going to close immediately. It's going to go against your statistics. They're not going to deplatform you or what's the word? They're not going to suspend you for doing that, but you can't continue to do that. Otherwise, you're going to lose some money, right? Guys, this is getting pretty close to our take profit. This is pretty awesome. And we're getting pretty close to that mid Bollinger Band, so let's see if we can follow through today and get this done. That'd be awesome if we can get this. But yeah, so that's one of their big rules is you have to have a take profit and stop loss, or not a take profit, but you have to have a stop loss on every trade the moment the trade is executed. Yeah, so you can adjust the stop loss after you take the trade. Yes, you can absolutely move the stop loss around, but like if you hit the sell button, it needs to have a stop loss already. But yeah, yes, you are allowed to move the stop loss around. Yes, you are allowed to do that. So anyway, I've thought of a couple of ways I could use them, and I think I could totally use them, but I think what I would do if I were to use them for the banker's close, what I would do instead is I would probably take bigger trades and fewer trades, and then I would just put in I don't know, just a small stop loss to start the trade, and then just as quick as I can, just adjust that stop loss where I actually want it after the fact. That's probably what I would do. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm thinking about taking some profits here just because it is starting to slow down here. I just want to make sure that we clock in some profits, and we're already up 10 pips a pop here. So I'm going to go ahead and close some of these out, like 4 trades. So I can book 43.8 pips. And then, yeah, I'm going to still leave these here. I'm actually going to pull one more trade up here. And I'm going to leave one to ride. Just one happy trade to ride. So I've booked 43.8 and I've got 52 unrealized. And I want to see if I can get it down just a little bit more down to here. But see, that's what I like to be able to do. I like to be able to close some of my position and leave some of it open. And if I have to take it all on one single trade, if I have to take one single order, then I'm not going to have that flexibility. We actually sold at a really good spot. Just pointing that out. Like that actually was really kind of like the top right there. So that's kind of cool. Right there at the top. I hate how it does that. It just teases you. Gets really close to closing out and then it does that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it makes it. We'll see what it does from here, but glad we closed a few trades out. I'm curious to see what this does, to see if it comes back up and retests this, makes a new high or whatever. I think at this point, what would probably happen is maybe it'll come back down and it could still potentially hit our targets down here. Like in the next 15 minutes before we wrap up. But then the other thing that could happen too, I've seen this happen multiple times, is you could have this thing come up and then retest somewhere right here and then come back down. Like this. And then what happens is that mid Bollinger Band kind of moves up too, kind of navigates to this upside here. And then what we would do is we'd close it out once it hits the mid Bollinger Band. But that mid Bollinger Band is a moving target. That's what I'm trying to say. Is just because it's down here right now doesn't mean it's always going to be down there, right? And so we have to adjust as it goes. And I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for it to do what I need it to do. Looks like the Euro pound, just for kicks and giggles here, looks like it did hit its mid Bollinger Band. So had we taken this one, this had an entry about the same time we had an entry on the pound franc. We would have bought here and we would have closed out for 8 pips, basically nearly the whole thing right there. And that would have been our banker's close trade right there for the day. That would have taken about 15 minutes for that whole thing to play out. Okay. And then this one with the Euro franc, this one, if we took this one plus it didn't quite hit the mid upper Bollinger Band, but I mean, I think it's doable nonetheless. Could we have traded this one? Sure. Yeah, we could have traded this one and then we'd still be in it, like because it hasn't hit the mid Bollinger Band yet. And that's pretty much what's happened to the pound franc here. It hasn't quite hit yet. And so that's the situation we're into. So we haven't been able to close out of the rest of our trades yet. But the Euro pound would have been good. Like this one came down here and it hit its mid Bollinger Band. That would have been your exit. I think I like this. I like the 3 different charts so I can monitor what each one of the 3 is doing. I think I might do that more often. And I'm just waiting. That's all I'm doing. There's just, unless you guys have other questions, let me know. But I'm just kind of in a waiting situation right now. And what I'll probably do is just bring, again, you kind of want to adjust these take profits just a little bit. If that mid Bollinger Band moves up a little bit, you may want to adjust those. But our stop loss is in for the day. Like our stop loss is ready to go already. This stop loss up here is fine. We already went through the details over here on the strategy, right? Use a fourth of the average daily range as your stop loss. Use Maytov to find the average daily range. And so, you know, here's the rules right here. Take profit at the mid Bollinger Band. We talked about that. Yes, you can add to the trade if the signal strengthens. However, I'm trying to do my best to just take, if as soon as the entry's there, just go hard on the original entry. And if it works, great, then great. If it doesn't, then too bad, right? That's kind of how I've been playing this. And that's how I want most people to trade it, because what happens is if the signal strengthens and it ends up hitting your stop loss, then you're just left with a lot more trades that have lost instead of a winner. So I don't know if it has enough utility to make it worth doing. You know, if you look at this example today, we just hit our entry right here and we just went all in, like not all in, but we just went all in with the starter position. And, you know, so far that's been a good entry. All right, let's see what we can get here. I'm hoping that we can get another bar down that can come and swipe some of these last trades here. We'll probably also tonight, probably try to get some more overnight trades going. I've been just hanging on to this CAD yen, and that's been great. That's been one of the best overnight trades I've taken, uh, and definitely one of the best overnight trades I've taken, probably the best overnight trade I've taken to start this year. Um, you know, over 10K on a single trade is amazing. 5 figures on one trade, three days, 4 days, whatever it's been. It's amazing. So try to do more of those. One other thing I really like about overnight trades, even though there's going to be, I feel like, let me just share a quick thing. So like bankers close, you're going to win more trades. Like you're going to naturally, you're going to come here every day. You're nearly every day, you're going to make income with the bankers close. With these overnight trades, I demand that the market gives me at least a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio pretty much on every trade I take. And so, you know, if I'm risking $1, I'm trying to make 3, which is a good thing. However, what happens is because you have such a good reward to risk ratio, often I tend to lose a few more trades. Like I might win half my trades. If I win half, that's still profitable because you're winning 3 times the amount that you're losing, but you're still losing half the time, right? And so I want to make that clear. If you're going to trade overnight and do some of these swing trades with me, if you have that same expectation and that same context, then yeah, go ahead and overnight trade with me. But if that context isn't there and you're expecting to win every single trade, then no, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you shouldn't do it, right? So that's kind of what I would do. Just have that expectation. So, but I'll try to get some more of those out. Another thing too, guys, if you can come to the COT report classes, do it, man. Like that's where I do a lot of the overnight trades. Like yesterday, I had a COT report class. I think I saw a couple of you there, and there were some other people there too yesterday. Like that's where we talk about overnight trades. That's where we talk about swing trading strategies. It's every Wednesday night, 7 Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then and if you can't go, just watch the recording, catch the recording. So, okay. And then Jason says, what happens during a challenge? So a couple of things. Every place that does challenges, that does challenges is different, right? Let's actually look at, like, I don't know, my Forex funds. So this is where I'm doing a challenge right now, right? So everybody's different, but they all kind of follow a lot of the same rules. So here's my Forex funds. They're a company in London, and they have 3 different phases of funding that you can, or 3 different ways of getting funding that you can go through. Okay. There's rapid funding, evaluation, and accelerated. Okay. Accelerated is instant funding. So if you pay them a certain amount of money, they'll fund you right away. In fact, I'll show you, like, if you give these guys accelerated is where, I think this is it, or is it rapid? Maybe it's rapid funding. Never mind. I don't, by the way, my favorite ones are evaluation. Pretty much everybody has an evaluation method. My Forex funds, FTMO, everybody's got some kind of evaluation method, and those are typically my favorite. But you could do like rapid. Let me see how my trade's doing. Okay, just sit in there. You could do rapid funding. They'll give you an account right away. But these are the rules based pretty much that you have to follow. I'm trying to find. No, I don't know if it's this one. Okay, so let me just show you what I do know. I don't know a ton about these other accounts. I know all about evaluation accounts, and these are the accounts that I typically recommend if you're going to do a challenge, because it's going to give you the access to the most capital, and they usually cost the least amount of money. Okay, so evaluation account, I'm doing this one right now. Literally right now, this is the one I'm doing. I'm doing a $200,000 challenge where I gave them $979 to try out so that I can get access to 200K of capital. Okay. So what happens in these challenges is you have 2 phases. There are 2 phases. I'm trying to find where it says it. You have 2 phases. Where is maybe I need to click into it. Let me actually click this one, and it'll show me. No, it wants me to pay right now, and I've already bought one. So basically what you have to do is, if you pay for this, they're going to give you 30 days to make 8% of the account. So you have to make $16,000, okay? Which is 8% of 200 grand. And there's a couple of things. It's not as simple as making 16 grand. You have to make sure that you don't lose more than 5% in a day. So you have a $10,000 stop loss. You cannot lose more than $10,000 a day. If you lose more than $10,000 in one day, or 5% of your account, you're going to forfeit this registration fee, and you're suspended from that account. Now, can you retry? Sure, they'll take another $1,000 from you, and you can retry. But I would recommend that you just make sure you tidy up your trading skills if you don't pass, right? Then phase 2 is you have to make 10,000. So after you pass phase 1, you have to make $16,000 in 8% in 30 days. Then you have 60 days to make 5%. So phase 2 is naturally easier than phase 1, because you have a much longer period of time to make the 5% of your account. And you still have to follow all the other rules. You can't lose more than 5% in a day, and you cannot lose more than 12% total. These guys are a little bit more lenient that way. They give you up to 12% drawdown, but that's an overall drawdown. That's not daily. Daily drawdown's 5%. Okay. Once you pass phase 2, then you're a funded trader. And then you can go ahead and start making real money with the $200,000 account. And you still have the same rules. You can't lose more than 5% in a day, 12% total. But there's no profit target. You can make as much or as little as you want, and manage your risk therein. So that's kind of how that works. But that's what happens with the challenge. And we can chat more, Jason. I know you and I are going to do another one-on-one here soon. We can talk more about challenges and the pros and cons of the different companies out there that do funding, because there's a lot. And so we can go through the different ones and maybe find which one fits you best. But again, the big thing is making sure that you know how to trade successfully first, making sure that you've had a lot of consistency over time. One of the things real quick, as we wrap up here, I would always recommend to somebody before you start a challenge, pass a free trial challenge first, and then pull out your credit card. If you can do that, then go ahead and do it. Like I do these free challenges with FTMO because they allow free trials for 14 days. So you get 14 days in a simulated account to try to pass the challenge, and then you go from there. So that's what I would do if I were you guys, is pass a free trial challenge first, get all passes. There's 4 different metrics. Pass everything. Once you've passed everything, then go ahead, pull out your credit card and do it. But I wouldn't do it until you've done that at least. So, all right, guys, we're going to let this trade sit. We've already got a take profits in. Stop losses are in. We've already booked some profits. So now it's just a waiting game at this point. So, all right, guys, I'll let you know in Telegram how this one plays out, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar tomorrow. So thanks for coming.